Hey, hi, and howdy, sweet friends. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Courtney, and here on YouTube, I do food and kitchen content. That means weekly grocery hauls, weekly what's for dinner style videos like this, and typically I try to sprinkle in a third video where I can. So this week I am sharing my weekly meal prep. I started meal prepping meals for my family a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, I love it. I'm not going back to the other way. I actually eat differently than most of my family because I am doing the Mediterranean diet. It was just a personal choice to improve my health. And I'm meal prepping everything else for the rest of my family. But this saves me so much time. And my evenings during the week are so much easier. So we're going to start off with this grill prep. So my husband likes to pull out the smoker or the grill on the weekends. And that was exactly what he did this weekend. I did eat a little bit of this. I ate a burger without a bun. I did have one or two of the ribs. I couldn't resist. I had to, y'all. But this is one of our favorites. We get these country style ribs. We prefer the bone in, but boneless works too. And I like to just season them quite simply. That seasoning that I showed you is from a Texas barbecue chain that's just our absolute favorite. It's amazing. But for the most part, it's just salt, a lot of pepper, and some garlic powder. And I just like to season all sides of our ribs just like that. I make sure top, bottom, and all the sides get covered. And then my husband throws these on the smoker at about 250 for a couple of hours. They don't take that long. They come out so amazing. I absolutely love them. If you get fat strips like some of mine have, make sure the fat is on the top so it drains down and keeps the meat nice and juicy. But overall, these are super simple to make. We actually made 2 packs of these. Plus the burgers I'm about to show you guys. And of course, we ate on this over the weekend and some during the week, which is why on my meal prep, I'm actually only going to have 2 more meals instead of the 3 that I had planned. We just had too much food. So now I'm going to make some burgers. Those first 4 are from my freezer. I've had them. I buy them from Market Street pre-made. And they do look a little bit different from the new ones that I just showed you there, which I picked up on markdown at Market Street. They had the pre-made, upper end burger patties on sale last week, but then I found these on markdown for even cheaper, and it's just really good burger patties. So all I do is I just buy some McCormick burger seasoning, and that's all I put on my burgers. I don't do anything super fancy with them, but I do like to make a lot of them at once. One, because everyone in the household can eat on them throughout the week for lunches. We can eat on them throughout the weekend. Plus, it was Labor Day weekend. It was a 3-day weekend. So right off the bat, everybody was home for 3 solid days. But also, if you have some extras, they freeze fabulously, and you can freeze them and then just put some parchment paper in between each patty and pop them out and microwave them for a quick meal straight from the freezer. You've controlled what's in them. You know that you've got good ingredients in there. So it's a little bit better than buying some of the pre-made stuff at the store that's just in the freezer section. So keep that in mind next time you roll your grill out. Not only is it nice to not heat up your kitchen if it's summertime or hot where you live like it is in Texas, but you can usually make a lot of stuff at once, and it is so much easier. So now that the meat's headed out to the grill, I'm going to make our favorite potato salad. So I have these baby potatoes, but you can do it with any kind of potato. I parboiled them for about 15 minutes, so they're soft enough to mash, but not soft enough to actually be mashed potatoes. And I'm going to lay them on this parchment paper that I sprayed with avocado oil on the cut side down. And then I'm going to take any flat-bottomed object. I like to use a mason jar. I spray them with a little bit more of the avocado spray, and then I go through like this and I smash them with my jar just like that. And it just makes them nice and flat. And when I pop them in the oven at 400 degrees, they're going to get crispy spots and develop even more flavor. It makes them amazing. This really takes your potato salad up a whole nother level. It is incredible. If you've not tried this, you've got to. It is wonderful. Again, 400 degrees in the oven. I just put a little salt, pepper, and garlic powder on top of them. That is it. And I do them about 15 minutes, but if you want them a little crispier, that is fine as well. So while the potatoes are doing their thing, we're going to make the dressing. Now, this is going to look like a lot of dressing, but 1, I have a lot of potatoes, and 2, because they are roasted that way, they're going to soak up a lot of the dressing, so you want a little bit extra. So I've added in some mayonnaise. I always add in about a tablespoon or so of olive oil as well, because for some reason I noticed that it does help. I like to throw in some Dijon or whole grain mustard, whichever I have. And then for this potato salad, I love the crunch of celery and some green onions. You cannot skip the green onions. They make this potato salad. I also like to add in dill pickles. And then if you're a longtime viewer, you're going to know this, but I love dill, y'all. I'm going to add in some dill. You can add in as much or as little as you want. I'm, of course, going to add in a ridiculous amount because I love dill. I think it's fabulous. I love the flavor. Something about it, I can't get enough of it. So I add in a ton. Now I am using fresh dill, so the flavor is a little bit more mild than if I had used dried dill. But rest assured, if I had used the dried stuff, I still would have put in an exorbitant amount. That's just how I roll when it comes to this stuff because I love it so much. Now, in the past, I've tried to throw in some capers, and those are really fabulous too. So if you want to do that, that's wonderful. I also like a little splash of lemon juice. And by little, I mean like a big splash because that's just how I do things. I also like to add in some salt and some pepper and a little bit of garlic powder. And that's it. I give this a really good stir so that my dressing is ready for my potatoes. And as soon as they are done in the oven, I'll show you what they look like. This is how I like mine. They're crispy around the edges. You can get them as crispy as you want. That's up to you, but that's how we like ours. I just put them straight into that dressing while they're still hot because it really helps to make all the flavors pop, heating up the onions and the dill and stuff. And I stir it, and I also kind of like mash and break up the potatoes a little bit. I used to do that on the cutting board and chop them up, but I found it was easier just to do it when I stir them. Potato salad's done, so let's move on to my cheater baked beans. I make these for all kinds of family get-togethers, and people really like them. Baked beans are not my favorite thing, which is funny because like I don't love baked beans, I don't love mashed potatoes, and I don't love deviled eggs. However, everyone tells me I make really good mashed potatoes, deviled eggs, and baked beans. One of the things that I make for most family get-togethers when we do like summertime barbecues is baked beans. I start with 2 cans of the Bush's maple baked beans, but you can do any kind you want. Home style is fine. Sometimes I change it up depending on what I have. I add in for the 2 cans about 1.5 tablespoons of mustard, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, some garlic powder. I like to throw in some pre-cooked bacon. And of course, you got to have a couple of tablespoons of brown sugar. And you can adjust these flavorings to however you like it. I mean, it really is, you might like it a little sweeter, you might like it a little spicier, maybe you want to throw some sriracha in there. I mean, it really is a personal preference thing. So for this, I'm just going to kind of give you some guidelines. This is what I put in mine. Start there and then change it up. I like to bake mine at 400 degrees for about 25 minutes or so until it's nice and bubbly and it starts to kind of caramelize on the top. And these are epic. Now, I'm sad to report I didn't get any finished photos of that particular meal, and I'm so sorry, but just trust me, it was eaten so quickly and everyone loved it. Okay, great meal prep option here. Chicken broccoli Alfredo. This one's a classic, and it's very economical. It goes a long way. I buy my chicken, I was showing you there, buy one, get one free at Market Street. They go on sale fairly often, and that is where I get most of my chicken just because the price is right. So I'm using one of those packs of chicken tenders, and I'm going to season it just with my standard chicken seasoning. Maybe you have some kind of Italian blend that you love. Use that. I just use salt, pepper, garlic powder, paprika. To me, that's does it right there. It tastes great, and it comes out perfect every time. I am kind of heavy with the seasoning, and I advise that to everyone. Like, no one likes bland chicken, and make sure you season it really, really well. And then I just put it in a skillet with a little bit of melted butter and a tiny dab of oil just so the butter doesn't burn. And I'm just going to season the other side of the chicken and cook it until it's completely done. It is that simple. Now, if you don't want to do this, you could always use rotisserie chicken, or you could even use canned chicken. That's totally up to you. But my husband really likes it when I cook the chicken like this, and I'm making this for him, so that's what I did. Next, I took a 1-pound box of elbow noodles and boiled them till they were not quite done because these are going to be hanging out in the fridge and getting reheated. We don't want them cooked all the way, otherwise they're going to get super mushy. And I added in 1 jar of Alfredo sauce. Then I added a little bit of water to the jar and shook it around to make sure everything got in the pot. I like to season my store-bought Alfredo sauce because I just get the plain H-E-B brand. I like to add in some garlic powder, some pepper, and some parsley. Maybe you have some other things you want to add, some extra Parmesan cheese. That's totally up to you. I do make sure and add that extra water in, though, because it really helps to keep everybody nice and keeps it from drying out and everything. And the noodles are going to soak up some liquid. You don't want it to dry out. I know it looks super saucy right now, but it won't stay that way. I also added in an entire 16-ounce bag of frozen chopped broccoli, mixed it all together, and then I just put the chopped chicken on top because that's the way I like it. I don't know why. You could mix it in if you wanted to. If you had canned chicken or rotisserie chicken, I would totally mix it in. I think it just presents more pretty if you put the diced chicken on top. All right, our last dish is this pepper chicken and chips. I found this on Pinterest, and I will link the video to it down below. So I started off with some more potatoes. I've got a lot of potatoes, but I'm going to go ahead and season them to my liking. The video suggests certain seasonings. I'm kind of following it and kind of not. I'm going to do some salt and some pepper, some garlic powder, and some paprika, and some onion powder. Now, as far as paprika goes, I always use smoked paprika because it's my favorite, but you can use regular. I think it's kind of a personal preference thing. So you do what your family likes, and that's cool. If you don't have any of these things, I would really suggest just like a Montreal steak seasoning blend because it's going to really make them taste great. And then you air fry them till they're nice and crispy, 400 degrees, about 20 to 25 minutes. Make sure you stir halfway through. Now let's pay attention to the chicken. I've got a pack of chicken tenders, just like the one I cooked a minute ago, but I've cubed this chicken up, and we're going to season it. We're going to add in some soy sauce and some pepper, no salt because of the soy sauce, a lot of garlic powder, and a little bit of cornstarch. And then I've got some sesame oil in my skillet here, and we're just going to toss the chicken in and get it in a nice flat layer and let it just start to cook and develop a little bit of a crust on the outside. This is super flavorful chicken. I was really impressed with how delicious it was. I left it alone for a little bit so it could really crisp up on the bottom, and I did the same thing after I stirred it around a little bit, just trying to develop some texture on that chicken. And the cornstarch really helps to do that. It made for a wonderful chicken. Next, once the chicken was done, I tossed in some sweet bell peppers and then a little bit of onion as well, and just kind of gave this a toss. I'm only going to par cook these. I want to keep a little texture and crunch to them because I think that that would be really, really good. You don't have to do that. Maybe you just want to do onion powder instead of onions. I know some people don't like to bite into onions, so personal preference, do what you like. You could add in more veggies if you want, but this is kind of what I saw in the video and I just ran with it. And I'm just going to let this cook for just a couple of minutes just to kind of take some of the bite out of it, but still keep a lot of texture to the vegetables. And that's pretty much done. My potatoes are done in the air fryer. This is what they look like at the bottom of each of my meal prep containers. And then I just add the chicken and veggies to the top. This smelled amazing. Oh my gosh. And the taste was unreal. It was so good and so simple. So easy to throw together. I highly recommend this one. So definitely check out the link below and give it a try. Thank you guys for watching this video this week and for always tuning in and supporting my channel. I appreciate you guys so much. Have a great one. Bye.